Hello, lovelies. It is Friday, and this week we've been talking about loneliness. Just kind of how awful it is, how socially stigmatizing it is, how normal it is, how sort of also spiritually realistic it is, because we are not yet in a world made right. But I just wanted to talk today about some of the pragmatics of what studies have shown us about loneliness, and that maybe some of the ways out of the worst feelings of loneliness are a little simpler than we think. Okay, this kind of started for me when I first got sick. I got really, really lonely, in part because my stuff was just dramatic and hard to relate to, and because people are typically great in a crisis situation, but not always great in a long-term chronic situation. And it just kind of became really confusing. Who are my people? How do I figure that out? And who do I tell my stuff to? And who can the people around me tell their stuff to? And, two insights kind of helped me. One was a thing called the ring theory, about when you're going through something, like we all are right now because of pandemic world. It's sort of we're at the center of a series of concentric circles, like if you ever cut a tree, and then there's all these beautiful rings. And so we are always we're at the center of our own lives. And so who's that first circle around us? And if you ask people, studies show about how many people we cycle through in the course of our lives, what are the ties that comprise our inner circle. And most people imagine that they have to have that. So in reality, most people cycle through about 7 people that they have in their sphere every 5 or 6 years. Which means that the people we actually have in our life, other than our family, they're often a cast that turns over, more than Saved by the Bell, the new class, which was always my favorite. And so then we're just oh, well, if that's true, and we're moving through so many people, who can we count on in that first circle of people around us? And so when I was talking with Vivek Murthy, who has written this beautiful book on loneliness, he was saying that you really only need 2 or 3 people. That we imagine that we need all these people because so often people are sort of cycling in and out, or they're there but they're kind of at a distance. That we really only need your 3. So find your 3. And it could be that right now in pandemic world, your 3 is different than it was a couple months ago, and that you just have different wants and needs and questions and stressors that require that you either dig new wells in pre-existing relationships, or that you go out and find new ones, or maybe you just didn't have anyone at all, and that was okay until now. So I find find your 3 to be very encouraging, because it means that we don't need a million people. And if you're on social media, sometimes it feels like everybody has somebody, and you're but I don't. So who's your 3? Who can you reach out to? Now's a great time to be embarrassingly needy, to ask for a Skype call to someone that you might not know as well, but who doesn't want to just have a drink with somebody at 5 or 4 or 3. But it's a great time to practice all of your social awkwardness, and just be hey, any chance you want to talk later? Or send a note or a letter or a text, or just send out a dove, some way of inviting somebody into a space that they might not have been before. And if you're not sure who it is, what I would do in the hospital if I was feeling lonely is just put my little self at the center, and then just brainstorm people that I've had in my life at different times, and think who can be my little group now. Because what I have now is I have my best friend from growing up, and she's the person I can tell the long form day to, and then I have you know, and then I have like my very, 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 very close friend that I can figure out like transactional life with. But like, I'm lucky that I have those two people right now. But like, I don't need to imagine that I need to have like everybody in the whole world. So, okay. May you find your three. May you find joy and peace in knowing that you are not alone in being lonely. And may you have a beautiful, terrible day and a weekend that is so much less rainy than it is in North Carolina. All right, take care.